Life is filled with constant temptations. Every day we are bombarded with beautiful promises, enticing offers, and pressure based on proven methods of influence. Unfortunately, many of us succumb to these manipulations and then bitterly realize that we have fallen victim to deception and flattery. However, there is a way to avoid this. The wisdom of the ancient Stoics gives us the key to maintaining independence and freedom. Stoicism taught us to recognize the true motives behind the words, to see the hidden hooks in supposedly selfless offers. It teaches us to keep our cool when emotions run high. By mastering the practices of Stoicism, we can avoid dangerous traps without falling for lies and manipulation. This means maintaining control of our lives and remaining the master of our destiny. If you are interested, let's dive back into the world of Stoicism and comprehend its eternal wisdom together. It will be an exciting adventure to true freedom and independence. The first step is to turn to yourself and accept the challenge. 1. Pay attention to flattery. Paying attention to flattery. The ancient Stoic philosophers, who developed a school of thought focused on virtue, wisdom, and living in harmony with nature, emphasized the importance of being on guard against the manipulative tactics of those who want to influence us. One such tactic was excessive ingratiation. The Stoics advised caution when we encounter such excessive flattery because it is often a technique designed to soften our defenses, stroke our egos, and make us more malleable before the flatterer asks us for something or encourages us to change our charge. By lowering our emotions and perceptions of ourselves, they hope to catch us off guard so that in this euphoric state, we become much more open to being asked and influenced. While excessive flattery often bears the slippery marks of manipulation, the Stoics warn that in those moments when you are confronted with intrusive flattery, a rational person, instead of instantly agreeing, will pause and carefully analyze the ulterior motives. This prevents manipulation because we rely on reason rather than emotion. It also helps maintain independence of judgment. Thus, when we notice signs of genuine excessive praise, we can use Stoic principles to guard against manipulation. The next time someone excessively flatters you, don't give in to the euphoria you may temporarily feel. Be careful. Examine what is wanted of you. Maintain self-control and foresight. Make balanced assessments in accordance with the truth, and don't give in to emotion under manipulation. These are values that the ancient Stoics demonstrated centuries ago and are still relevant today. Second, emotional buttons. People who push emotional buttons often use manipulation tactics for their own purposes. They play with our feelings to upset us and throw us off balance. Manipulators may intentionally push emotional buttons by making hurtful remarks, stirring up anger and anxiety, or stirring up resentment between people. Their goal is to make us emotionally angry in order to cloud our thinking and reasoning, putting us into an irrational state. Haunted by sadness, resentment, or revenge, we become more malleable to the manipulator's hidden agenda. Stoics warns us to tighten control over our emotions and behavior when we are so purposefully attacked. Although easier said than done, they advise responding with discipline, patience, and wisdom, rather than losing our temper or making demands. When we recognize that we are being tried to upset, we are better able to see the manipulator's motives. Any overreaction or drama only fuels their efforts to destabilize and exploit. Stoic practice helps us enter such encounters psychologically prepared to fire shots at our emotions. If we realize that manipulators often intentionally provoke our feelings for their own benefit, this self-control gives us back our power over ourselves. Beware of urgency appeals or other forms of pressure that manipulators may use to get you to act in their interests. Third, beware of appeals to urgency or scarcity. The ancient wisdom of the Stoics urges us to act with caution whenever someone puts pressure on us, emphasizing that the need for immediate action or the rare nature of the situation should trigger our vigilance. The use of urgency and the creation of forced scarcity as tools of influence must be prevented, as it can lead to a loss of judgment and hasty decisions that are not in our best interest. Manipulators may emphasize the need to make a decision now or provide insufficient information to support our assessment of the situation. They may press us psychologically, increasing tension and pressure. However, giving in to these forces often leads to late regret when we realize the hidden costs or motives that remained hidden behind the urge for urgent action. Modern Stoics, such as Eric Benner, caution against rapid personal transformations based solely on emotional elation, as they are rarely lasting and may run counter to Stoicism's ideals of self-mastery. Even under the pressure of time, we should be able to remain calm rather than letting time lord it over us. In striving for Stoic fortitude, we must pay attention to situations without giving in to rushed impulses and make decisions thoughtfully, based on facts and unbiased evaluation. Fourth, pay attention when important details are omitted. Calmness and gradualism protect us, and the main caveat embedded in Stoic philosophy is to be alert to what information is omitted or actively withheld when someone is trying to persuade us to adopt a particular viewpoint and action. Stoicism emphasizes constant vigilance against half-truths, misrepresentation, and strategic omission. An ethical person will readily provide all the evidence, context, and transparency for their claims. Manipulators tend to hide inconvenient facts that undermine arguments or can reveal ulterior motives. For their arguments rely on ignorance caused by incomplete data. Making an informed, rational decision, consistent with the Stoic virtues, requires a comprehensive assessment of the circumstances. We must listen to rhetorical antics, omitting important facts and premises when arguments lack key details or access to the full picture. Stoic principles advise postponing a decision until we have all available viewpoints and information. Otherwise, we are left vulnerable to insidious manipulation by information purposely withheld from us. Finding fragments of history hidden from view allows for more accurate application of manipulation and supports the ideals of honest virtue, self-control, and wisdom. Fifth, don't make decisions when you are angry, tired, or in a hurry. Don't make decisions when you are angry, tired, or in a hurry. A key teaching of the Stoics is that we become most susceptible to manipulation and poor judgment when we lose our temper. The ancient Stoics warned that deliberately imposed mental fatigue and agitation make us vulnerable. Irritation, impatience, or emotional tension cloud our rational faculties and interfere with wise decisions consistent with virtue. Manipulators often use verbal attacks and agitation to purposefully inflame these feelings, hoping to break our resistance. Stoicism gives us the means to avoid this, advising us to postpone ruminating until we have regained a balanced, calm mindset. Wait until anger at provocation has completely subsided, get adequate rest when tired, and don't push yourself. Build mental toughness in the face of hurried deadlines that can disrupt our equanimity. By following these tips, we maintain the inner control necessary to see truth rather than manipulation. Our human gift of reason remains sacred and is most enduring when emotions are aligned and energy is renewed. Being deliberate and defensive helps us avoid being exploited by those who intentionally try to push us into impulsive and irrational decisions. Remember, Stoicism teaches us not to trust our intuition in such moments. Sixth, trust your intuition. Our intuitive senses often pick up subtle clues that we may not consciously notice when someone is trying to manipulate or deceive us for their own selfish purposes. Even if outwardly such attempts appear friendly or harmless, our intuition can alert us to ulterior motives. Famous thinker Marley said, "Follow your inner sense of what to avoid or what to pursue." This emphasizes the importance of listening to our gut feelings as a guide. When our gut tells us that a suggestion sounds too good to be true, we should take it into consideration. Our intuitive faculties have evolved over millennia into sophisticated perception systems attuned to the slightest signs of danger or deception from others. The ancient Stoics understood this, advising us to be aware when feelings of nervousness or intuition arise in relationships or situations. According to Stoic practice, when an intuitive doubt arises about a person's motives or a proposed transaction, pause to consciously understand why this might be so, rather than ignoring the concern. Verbally acknowledge the feeling, analyze its origin without judgment, before acting on it. In this way, intuition gains a wise ear and the ability to more thoroughly evaluate scenarios for ethical soundness. This is how Stoicism uses the perceptive power of intuition to avoid manipulation. 7. Be very careful about believing promises. One of the central pillars of Stoic philosophy is to judge people strictly by their actions, not by their words or promises. This is especially important when we are trying to distinguish authenticity from manipulation. Skepticism in evaluating loud assurances or lavish promises is an important aspect of Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius admonished his followers, "The first rule is to keep an unperturbed spirit. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are." The emperor understood that focusing on empty verbal vows could lead to disappointment. The Stoics advised against the prejudice of optimism when met with assurances of future help, loyalty, or obedience. Flattering speeches often mask self-interest, and the Stoics placed special emphasis on confirming words with deeds. Strict vigilance against empty and distorted perceptions meant checking rather than hoping that promises would materialize. As Epictetus noted, "Sheep show how much they have eaten not by shouting but by digesting." Like them, ethical people prove their worthiness by the daily deeds they perform. Thus, the wisdom is to judge decency strictly by behavior, not by warm phrases that can manipulate perception. Another important aspect of Stoic teaching is to watch out for overly complex situations or explanations. 8th, watch out for overly complex explanations. It is said that excessive complexity in agreements, proposals, and communications often conceals deceptive motives rather than reflecting reality. When details multiply beyond necessity or clear explanations are rare, it violates the ideal of simple wisdom and transparency. Marcus Aurelius was suspicious of complexities that deliberately confuse and obfuscate. He believed that simple facts can almost always be extracted from the most complex issues with effort and insight. Stoic principles advise being wary of offers and relationships free of duplicitous purposes. When new information piles up more data than seems useful, or previously simple processes grow fibers, complexity becomes impenetrable. Stoics advise pausing for more analytical study. Even if it's daunting, break complexity down into understandable components to capture the contradictions in sincerity. Simplicity itself has an elegance that reflects honesty of purpose. As the founder of Stoicism, Zeno preached, "Wisdom rests on clarity and transparency." Complexity should inspire suspicion, while simplicity should inspire benign credulity. Ninth, don't be afraid to ask questions. Stoicism instructs us not to be afraid to ask questions, as this is one of the basic tenets of an honest philosophy. By constantly asking questions and scrutinizing information, we avoid taking statements and stories passively on faith. This approach emphasizes that asking insightful and incisive questions is a manifestation of wisdom. The influential Roman Stoic Seneca urged those seeking truth to be careful and reflect on things. He knew that confusion or gaps in arguments open the door to exploitation if they are not explored more deeply with focused questions. The habit of asking exploratory questions helps us avoid being misled and discerningly identify hidden vested interests or contradictory logic. Although questioning wisdom can cause some social friction, the Stoics saw it as an important process for living ethically and making full sense of situations. A famous Stoic teacher, like Musonius Rufus, taught his students a Socratic approach to questioning that requires further scrutiny. Stoicism arms us against manipulation and empowers us to ask questions boldly. 10th, do not rush into a decision. One of the central principles of Stoic philosophy is the need for deliberate and carefully considered decision-making. This helps to avoid the undesirable consequences that can result from spontaneous or impulsive actions. The Roman emperor and philosopher Marcus Aurelius noted that most bad decisions are made in haste. A considered decision means taking the time to carefully consider options and taking into account multiple perspectives. Such decisions free us from emotional influence and incomplete data that manipulators can take advantage of. Practicing Stoicism involves forming habits and environments that foster patience so that we can remove ourselves from the pressure to make hasty decisions. Cultivating patience should become part of our daily rhythm and pace of thinking. It will help us stay calm and avoid the pitfalls of making decisions in a state of excitement. The Stoics insisted on the principle of unhurried and strategic deliberation, which promotes the development of long-term wisdom. 11th, consider all points of view. Seeking to consider all points of view before making a decision is a key aspect of Stoic wisdom. This approach helps avoid making decisions based solely on a single point of view or limited information. Instead, judiciously weighing multiple perspectives provides a panoramic understanding of the truth and reveals possible manipulation to serve narrow interests. Roman Emperor and Stoic. Marcus Aurelius emphasized the importance of clearly defining the essence of an issue and considering it from multiple perspectives. This involves broadening the focus to take into account more facts and context. This approach is consistent with the Stoic teaching of seeing clearly and including all important perspectives related to the decision being made. Manipulators often use limited or one-sided narratives to manipulate emotions and hide opposing details. Therefore, open discussion of all points of view becomes an important element of ethical thinking. This approach allows a decision to be viewed from multiple perspectives and a variety of ethical outcomes to be taken into account. Thus, Stoic wisdom involves not only analyzing a situation from different perspectives, but also striving for an objective understanding of multidimensional reality, which facilitates more informed and ethical decision-making. 12th, do not retreat from your values and principles. A central teaching of the Stoics is to remain connected to our deeply held values and principles, regardless of external coercion or psychological tactics to compromise for hidden agendas. Stoicism views virtue, ethics, and integrity as an inner fortress that manipulators cannot destroy if we remain faithful. The metaphor, a mind free from passions is a citadel, emphasizes the protective power of actions based on values rather than malleable emotions. Integrity forms an impregnable fortress against exploitation. Epictetus warned against compromise, which can lead to loss of self-respect and trust, and lead one off the path of moral wisdom. Stoics view compromised virtue as an internal moral failing from which external manipulators benefit. Their philosophy promotes internal morality by constantly reminding themselves of principles and values. Returning to the foundation of values and virtue helps to maintain freedom and remain true to oneself even in times of challenge and tension. 13th, consult with those you trust. Stoicism's strategy for avoiding manipulation when making personal, professional, or civic decisions includes careful consultation with trusted mentors. This allows for broader wisdom and reality checks rather than relying on instincts alone. Stoicism values seeking diverse and honest feedback and seeking advice from multiple perspectives before making decisions. The example of Marcus Aurelius, who gathered wise counselors and allowed them to speak candidly, demonstrates the importance of counseling. He checked his potential blind spots when formulating major policies, realizing that isolation breeds poor judgment. Seneca also advised friends to exchange ideas to sharpen thinking and reduce manipulation, realizing that we can miss out on much by being alone. Feedback provides an important perspective, and confidants should share key virtues and character traits such as prudence, honesty, and candor. Regularly consulting with other Stoics or philosophers when making important decisions helps prevent insularity and self-deception. By consulting with others, Stoicism teaches how to use collective intelligence to overcome manipulation and make informed decisions. 14th, study the tactics of manipulation. Marcus Aurelius and other Stoics insisted on learning manipulation tactics to prevent hidden influences on our decisions and relationships. Gaining knowledge of specific emotional and psychological manipulation techniques is a key aspect of Stoic philosophy. Learning these tactics allows us to expose deception and strengthen our defenses against those who attempt to use them for their own personal gain. The pursuit of education plays an important role in resistance to manipulation. The Stoics emphasized applied teachings that revealed methods of manipulation and warned of their signs. Understanding these methods helps build autonomy and self-control, which makes manipulation less effective. Epictetus's quote, encouraging us to make the best of what we can and take the rest as it comes, emphasizes the importance of using knowledge of manipulation tactics to make intelligent decisions. With these tools, one can avoid falling into the traps of manipulation and make informed decisions based on long-term values and principles of Stoicism. This is a great conclusion that emphasizes the importance of building relationships based on genuine respect rather than hidden agendas. By sharing this advice, we can help each other become wiser, more independent, and truly free. Together, we can make the world a little wiser in the spirit of Stoicism. I wish everyone firmness of mind and clarity of thought. See you again.